Good evening. This is Sheila Green, and I am the founder and director of Holy, WHOLLY Committed Ministries, and I am here to share my heart with you and my desire to share what is going on in our country. Thank you for tuning in to my channel. If you find what I say is important, please like this video and subscribe. Thank you. Tonight, I am talking about a key, a very important key, and that is the key of knowledge. And so it is a good time to bring that up right now because we want to, and I hope that you want to, examine the issues that we face in this country and are prepared and willing to also be informed, And so I added 5 videos to my Facebook page, and I would love for you to check out my Facebook page, and it's Sheila R. Green. And if you get the opportunity, please check out my Facebook page and also my website, which is WHOLLYcommitted.com. I want to share about the 5 videos that I put on my Facebook post, just in case you don't want to go on my Facebook post and you want to find out more about these videos. I am going to name the videos and also give you the time that they all are, the length of time the videos are recorded. And hopefully you will want to listen to those videos. You may want to click on them. They're on YouTube, and click watch later. And hopefully when time permits, you will look at these 5 videos. Again, it's important to be aware of what is going on in our neighborhood, in our city, in our state, in our country, and even in our world. And as many of you know, I do videos. I have a YouTube channel. I talk a lot about the Word of God and about the Christian faith. On my Facebook post, I talk about American history, and included in American history is racism in America. Well, I talk about more than even that. I talk about what's going on in the justice system and politics, with the immigration issues. And I talk about these things because I have an outreach ministry called Holy Committed Ministries, and we minister to people who all of these things in some form or fashion affects the people that we minister to. And so it is very important. I encourage education. I encourage people to know what's going on in our country. 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, I did a workshop at the local libraries in Austin, Texas, and the name of the workshops was propaganda and stereotyping. And I did not realize that in 2020 we would be faced with such big promotion and acceptance of propaganda. A lot of people don't realize how much propaganda we get fed every day in this country. And so it's very important to be informed because of the misinformation and the information being fed to you so that you could believe like others believe. But it's important not just to look at one news station, but look at them all. Not just look at the ones in America. It's very interesting what Australia has to say and UK has to say. It's very important to know what others are thinking. So I'm going to go real briefly into the 5 videos that I shared on my Facebook post. I hope you would look at, but I don't want you to stop there. Please don't stop with these 5. Start with the 5 maybe, but continue listening and paying attention to other things that's going on. Right now, there are some who only listen to Fox News. And then now, because of some of the things that said negative about Fox News, now people, instead of Fox News, they're going to the radio talk show host. Then you have some that can't stomach Fox News and they only listen to CNN and vice versa. But it's important for us to see what we all are thinking in this country, as divided as we are. The 5 videos that I want to share. The first one, and please forgive me if I stumble a little. I still have some trouble with my eyesight, and so sometimes it's hard to see. But the first video, and I'm going to say it slowly, so hopefully you can write it down and you can look it up on YouTube. Click on it and save it to listen to later if you so desire. The first one is Trump admins false election claims could result in voter suppression efforts. Now, this video is 4 minutes and 7 seconds, and it talks about voter suppression. This is something that's part of our history in America, voter suppression. And it's not just part of history, it is also what has been going on now, and it's very evident now, something that you can't ignore or label it as fake news. The second one that I find very informative and a good start for further investigation is given by Dr. Paul Farmer. He is being interviewed, and the name of this is entitled Centuries of Inequality in the U.S. Laid Groundwork for Pandemic Devastation. And that video is 21 minutes and 22 seconds. It talks about the history of the inequality in the health field, in the medical field, and neighborhoods that's been devastated by this pandemic. It talks about the history of that. Where is that coming from? For greater understanding, again, Dr. Paul Farmer, Centuries of Inequality in the U.S. Laid Groundwork for Pandemic Devastation. Again, 21 minutes, 22 seconds. The third one is The Hidden Truth About Politics. The Hidden, HIDDEN, Truth About Politics. That is 10 minutes and 3 seconds. And the interesting part about that video, it also talks about, in addition to a few other things, it talks about the conservative and the liberal points of view, and how sometimes conservative and is important and sometimes liberalism is important. And the thing about it today is, if you're one or the other, you're enemies. Again, a very divided America. The Hidden Truth About Politics. The fourth one that I also added on my Facebook post was, the title is, I don't see a conservative movement out there worth saving. Excuse me. I don't see a conservative movement out there worth saving. That's 18 minutes and 10 seconds. Now, I'm not going to put who was being interviewed here, because you're going to, many will say, oh, I'm not going to listen to that because this is the person who's talking. So it makes nonsense. It's not it's not really talking against what you think it is. So it's very important to hear. And I just want to stop a minute and mention a very well-known author by the name of Max Lucado. And he made a comment in one of his books that really stuck with me. And what he said was, in essence, was how, people read one page of a book and they judge the whole book. How can you judge a book from one page or one sentence? How can you judge a sentence, a whole paragraph by one sentence? And you can't. You don't know. So it's very important that you understand the fullness of an issue, not just a piece of it or someone else's interpretation of it. It's very important that you understand and you know that you research, that you think it through for yourself. And so that's number 4. And number 5, another very controversial and interesting video, and it's Lumbar wants Civil War. Limbaugh, Rush Limbaugh, and that's Limbaugh. He wants Civil War, and that's 12 minutes and 58 seconds. Now, this is not fake news. You know, they actually have a clip showing what he says about this issue of secession. We're in such a bad place and we can't live together, so we just need to separate from ourselves. And you know, that's a lot of marriages, they separate, forget it, I don't want anything, but we can't do that. This is America. And but this is some of the things he said. Lumbar wants Civil War. I may not be saying his name right, but it's Limbaugh. The strange thing about this man also, he is a radio talk show host. Remember, he got the Medal of Honor or whatever from the president. Well, there are many white evangelicals and white evangelicals that also support Rush Limbaugh. They and not just white evangelicals. There are Black and Hispanic and Latino that Hispanic that also support this man because they all fellowship together. And so he's the next best thing, then next to apple pie. And so, but to hear what he has to say is very eye-opening, and he's saying it out of his mouth himself. And so you think, you know, how can this be? How can we have gotten to this point in America? We don't trust each other. We don't trust our government. We don't. Now, you know, a lot of Black people have a good reason not to trust the FBI. There was a man over the FBI. His name escapes me right now. He was over FBI for a very, very long time. He did some really crooked stuff, you know, but still that was you know, that's one of our nation's governing bodies or policing bodies, intelligence, should I say. So we have FBI, we have the CIA, we have all of the news outlets except for Fox and radio talk show hosts like Limbaugh. You have, but you have now Republicans, other Republicans, that's the enemy. And so we're in trouble in America for a very important reason. There's very few people in the high government that's pushing this mistrust. But getting back to Limbaugh, I recently received an invitation, strangely enough, to and become a part of the Texas nationalist movement. Now, before seeing Rush Limbaugh on the video saying what he said, I thought, well, you know, well, maybe this is Russia, you know, trying to make more division in our country. Because I looked up the Texas nationalist movement. I Googled it, and they do have a website. But again, I thought maybe it was Russia because they're talking about secession, succeeding from just like the Civil War era, breaking away from the government. And but listening to Rush Limbaugh, there are some people that believe that, and there's some of a militia that believe that too. They want to break away because they want the America that was during the Civil War time. Then we have words, you know, that's inciting violence. And if you're not tuned in to what's going on, you don't know that there's things being said against people in government that's causing hate crimes, attempting hate crimes to be attempted. For instance, the plan to kidnapped the governor of Michigan. But that's not all. They are going against Republicans in Michigan because they won't throw the elections, and they're protesting. This one mother and her little child was at night being accosted. They were protesters at night in front of her house. That's threatening, don't you think? If you're a woman with your child, your day is done, you're home with your family, and someone's protesting outside your door. And so, but these things are happening. Words mean something, and words are inciting violence in our country. And if you really listen to who's being threatened, you'll see where the big problem is coming from. But anyway, there's mistrust of the government, mistrust about the the even having a pandemic. There's really not a pandemic. We really don't need to wear mask. And if you wear a mask, you can get beat up. In some places they will, say cruel, evil, mean things to you. These are some things that's going on in America. So America's history, our history. I'm an American. I'm a veteran. You know, um, and that's a whole nother story, another subject in itself. But America's history is coming back to haunt our future. It is back. It's coming back. It's just pouring out of the pores of some people. And one of those examples is voter suppression. Another one is a us versus them. And another one is threat. I will lose something if I don't fight, and if I don't kill, and if I don't follow this person. These things are happening now. So we have death. There's a possibility of death coming to some people standing up for the Constitution. And there's lawlessness. The Bible speaks of lawlessness. So lawlessness will come. We're not just talking about the looters that looted when others were protesting, like the Floyd that had someone's knee on his neck until he breathed his last breath, and the protests begun. And then there were looters that took advantage of that. Those were the lawless ones, right? But it's not just the lawless ones in the street. There's the lawlessness in the high seats of government as well. And there's a promotion of lawlessness. Go vote 2 times. Well, that's a federal offense, right? So lawlessness is abounding, is growing. And with that lawlessness is coming also the love of many waxing cold. And we see that now, how people are evil, cruel, mean to each other. They say the most horrible things to each other. And really now, we have nothing in common. So we just need to keep hating each other. It's so very important to understand what's going on in our country. A part of that is a need to know history. A part of that is to need to know about how finances work in our country. There are so many reasons to research. So I always said when Trump became president that the America's trajectory would change, the direction we were going would be in, that countries, we would not have the same position with other countries, foreign countries. And now many countries think we are a big joke. These are some of the things that's going on in our country. And because of the lack of true leadership. So I wanted to share all these things with you tonight, and to say that what is happening now is a destruction within. Within, we're having the destruction of our country, excuse me, is coming from within, not from without. Not the Muslims, not the Chinese, not the, even though we've got this coronavirus thing that started. Well, did it start anyway? And the rush is not from them; it's from us ourselves. Know what is going on. Pray without ceasing. Have no fear. If you have knowledge, you know what's happening. And that gives a confidence. And knowing Christ gives you even greater confidence. So I just want to say again, thank you for listening to my video. If you find I have said something of value, please like my video and subscribe. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you, and may you have peace in these beginning days of sorrow. Goodbye.